Hey folks, so it's pretty early today. I'm making a video because even, at 8 o'clock in the morning they started. I had to go downstairs today, and of course they took that opportunity to really perp me hard. Okay, they start early. I was just thinking that to the people who are too damn selfish to stand against this, they just don't want to be bothered. And a lot of them, even though they're being presented with facts and evidence, they don't want to believe it's true because they don't want to be bothered to lift a finger to stop it. They're too selfish. Well, one day they're going to be at the receiving end of this, right? Right now, some of us have been chosen for this type of treatment, but one day it's going to be the entire world. Except maybe the sheeple, the lackeys who willingly bend over for the ruling elite, no matter how evil they are, and they've always been, right? Every atrocity that has ever been committed had approval from the masses, right? It was never the population at large that stopped atrocities. It was small groups of rebels who stood up against the evil acts. Many died doing it, but eventually more and more got on board. Why did the Holocaust end? Well, it wasn't because of the population at large. The population, the masses went along with it. It was because small groups of rebels stood against it. And some people actually went into the death camps, reporters, with cameras to take pictures to show the world what was happening so that people would know what was happening. Otherwise, they would never believe it because it would all be denied. And they wouldn't believe it because they wouldn't want to believe it, because that would mean actually having to do something about it or admit that they were just terrible people. Selfish, useless, allowing atrocities like that to happen. If you look at, but what the rulers want, they want a society where the masses are just, they're just like sheep. They don't do anything. They don't say anything. They keep their mouths shut. They don't stand up against evil. They bend over for it. And that's what they're trying to condition us all to. You look at not just the Holocaust, but what happened afterwards in East Germany, right? Under communism, right? With Zersetzung. It started with the Gestapo under the Nazi regime in Germany. It moved on to, the Stasi, the state police under communist, in communist East Germany then after the Holocaust ended. That progressed to America and, MK Ultra and COINTELPRO and the masses always went along with it. Someone with authority told them it was good, and even though it was clear that people were being hurt, they went along with it because they wanted to. Okay, some were probably forced into it, I get that. And most of them were probably afraid to stop. But let's get real, a lot of them did it because they enjoyed it. They were getting paid. They enjoyed the feeling of being in a massive group, standing against, an enemy that they didn't believe could ever fight back. It gave them all of the satisfaction, the thrill of the hunt, but without any real risk to their own lives because they had the target outnumbered. It made them feel good. That's why they did it. They've always gone along with it. And if this keeps up, it's happening again. But what this is leading to is that end time system where, I don't want to sound too, I'm trying not to sound too conspiracy theory-ish, but it's leading to that system where you stand up against it and you're immediately condemned and degraded and dehumanized and shamed and slandered and destroyed socially, and they get the masses to go along with that. Right? If this kind of thing happened during the Holocaust never would have ended. Right? Because they try to silence anyone who stands against it, and that's what they're trying to do again. So future Holocaust, not just toward the Jewish people, but toward any group, those unfortunately will go on without ever being stopped because the people who would have stood against these things are being silenced and destroyed. Anyway, so what happened? A few days ago, I got some channels in the suggestions on YouTube. And some of them were about really, really rich people buying really expensive things that they didn't need. And personally, I don't usually watch that, and I don't really care what people do with their money. It's their money, right? I might not like the fact that some people can afford a $50,000 handbag, while other people can't even afford food or medical care. But even still, it's their money. They can do what they want with it, right? It's not for me or anyone else to tell them they can or they can't. But these videos kept showing up in the suggestions. So I clicked on one. And of course, once you click on things, they show up even more. So I started watching these, maybe just to torment myself. I don't know. So I started, and it was crazy. You know, there were all these people, and they all seemed to buy the same thing, just really expensive handbags. And I also noticed, and I said this to myself, that they all seem to go to Chanel. They all seem to want Chanel handbags, Chanel this, Chanel that. And I didn't understand why, because I'm looking at these items and they didn't look that great. And I mean, I know you pay for the name, but you know, I was musing over that, and it wasn't. I wasn't condemning them. You know, they didn't seem like bad people. Don't take this as, you know, as me hating on them. I'm not. I just I thought it was kind of, well, anyway. So I mused over that for a little while, and then I clicked off. Fine. Then I started looking for something for my mom for Christmas and for around, you know, for the holidays. And I was looking online for sweaters for her and stuff. And I was looking at rose gold sweaters and shirts and things that she might like. Okay, fast forward to today. We had food delivered. And of course, the witch outside is turning the vacuum on right now. And I'll tell you what she's the same witch who, she lied before. She's one of the perpetrators. They hired her to cause trouble. Okay, but I will get to that later. I will get to that later. They hired her to do this. She's lied before. We'll get to that. But anyway, no. So I went downstairs today to get the order, to pick up the groceries that we ordered and some household supplies that we needed. On the way back up, what was it? There was a woman she was already in the elevator. So we got on the first floor, and she was already in the elevator, but she didn't get out. She stayed in there. Okay, fine. She was wearing a rose gold jacket with a scarf, one of the same things I looked at online that I had thought about getting for my mom. Yeah. Okay. And so I knew that it was going to be a setup. Okay. Fast forward. Also on the way down, there were two women in the elevator. Oh no, wait, that was on the way up. Okay. Fast forward. I get the groceries. I go back to the elevator. I get in. I put the groceries away. We took a cart up with us. I brought the cart back down, and on the way down, there were two women in the elevator, and of course they were both wearing the red. And just like in the laundry room, someone wore red yesterday. When they want to get my attention, they'll wear red, and then they'll start making comments, like repeating things I said on the phone, or repeating something I said to my mother in the apartment, word for word, you know, something like that. Or they'll make a reference to something I said or did online. Okay, well, the women were both wearing red, and one of the women, I've seen her before. She's the perpetrator. She's Russian. A lot of them are Russian. Yeah. She's also Jewish, which, what can I say? Okay, so they were wearing red, first of all, and the woman, the Russian woman, was wearing a Chanel face mask. Yeah, she was wearing a Chanel face mask. And this is like what I was looking up online, you know, watching all these people with their Chanel and musing about how they all get Chanel. And I even saw someone wearing a Chanel face mask, and I was joking with my mom about that. The witch was wearing a Chanel face mask. I don't care what she was wearing. You know, I don't care. You know, it's not about giving a damn what they wear or don't wear. I don't care what people choose to clothe themselves in. But they were referencing something that I did online and something that I said in the apartment. Okay, the witch is a perpetrator. They're showing us that they're still into everything. They can see and do everything we hear in the apartment. And they've hacked my computers where they can see and do everything. They can see everything and hear everything I do online. Okay. And then, of course, the witch starts coughing and hacking into her face mask. And I'm ignoring it. I'm trying so damn hard to ignore it, because they'll have the perpetrators, especially the Russian ones, come by and cough and hack. Knowing that, you know, this building, it's just the nature of this building. There are a lot of seniors here. There are a lot of people who are sick with pre-existing conditions. So we have to be extra careful here. And they know that. They're trying to kill people. And there's not a damn thing I can do about it, because if I try to tell people, I'll be considered crazy, mentally ill. Right? I'm more likely to be sent to a psychiatrist than to actually get help. Legal help, right? To stop these crimes from being committed. So she's hacking, and I ignore it. Well, they're not going to let me ignore it. She hacks into the face mask again, and she's got it pulled down slightly too. And I'm trying so hard to ignore this godforsaken witch. And I'm being very cautious with what I say. I have a lot of words for this witch. I have a lot of names for the perpetrators, but I don't want to. I don't want you to use terminology that might be used against other targets, because I know that the perpetrators themselves are nasty, and they have a lot of nasty names for targets. So I'm trying to hold back, but it is taking every last ounce of restraint I have to hold back here. Oh, Lord. Okay, so I still ignore it. And then she has to bring it up. And she looks over at me and she says, oh, this mask, it's so uncomfortable. So she's bringing attention to the mask. They're not going to let me ignore it, right? They saw what I was looking at online, the Chanel, these wealthy people in their Chanel, and they knew that I was joking about it. And so now they're referencing it, and they're not going to let me ignore it. Oh, and also with the rose gold too, on the way down, as soon as I walked out of the apartment, there were people sitting in the hallway. One is the same woman I know is a perpetrator. She's working for them. They had their rose gold blanket, because I was also looking up blankets for both me and my mom, but I was looking up a rose gold colored one for her. So they had that rose gold blanket in the hallway. Okay, but back to the elevator on the way down. So the witch is then, talking about how she doesn't like wearing the mask. And by that point, another guy got in the elevator. Okay. Finally, I turn to her, and I'm trying to control my temper. I'm trying so damn hard. And I say, well, you know what? It's a good thing you're wearing the mask since you're coughing and hacking. And I said it in a bit more of I said it a bit testier than I should have. But at this point, I'm losing every last goddamn bit of patience I have. And they know it. That's why they're doing it. They want a public outburst, because they want to then use that against me. They provoke the target intentionally so that they can use the target's reaction against him or her. Then she got testy with me, and she said, oh, it's just allergies. And then she turned her back to me and started talking to the guy and flipped her wrist at me. Fucking... with that thick Russian accent. Russians. But here's the thing, and I was also starting to have really, really nasty thoughts about Russians in general. But that's also what they want, because deep down we know it's not just Russians doing this. Our government is involved. If they weren't, they would be helping us. We hear about people at targets complaining to the police or complaining to other government organizations, and instead of getting help, they get sent to a shrink, right? Now, the police, they might not know what this type of warfare is, but the FBI, the CIA, they know what this type of warfare is. They know damn well what this is. Okay, and I say all the time, right, denying involvement in a crime does not imply guilt of the crime, obviously. But denying that the crime exists, or denying that the person could be a victim of this, and instead being so quick to deem them mentally ill, that might imply guilt. Because why would you do that if you know damn well that this happens? So we know it's not just Russia involved in this. If it was, then our nation is gone. We've already been fully conquered. If it really was just Russia, then they've taken over everything, including our police, including the CIA, including the FBI, right? Including the presidency. Now we can say, well, they took over the presidency, but do they control the FBI too? I don't. I'm getting off topic. I'm trying so hard to maintain restraint here and not go overboard and start cursing in this video, and I just want to pound things. Right. So we walk out of the elevator, and she's super nice to everybody else, showing me that she, that people like her here, and that, I'm the odd one out. There's nothing I can do about this shit. And okay, on the way back, I walk back up, and the woman outside, now she's holding the blanket. She's showing me, and she literally holds it right out to me to show me. Okay, before it was the blanket was just sitting on the bench, but when I came back out, they told her to literally hold it out to me to show me. They're not going to let me ignore this. The blanket I was looking up online the other day, just showing me that they've hacked my computer and they can see what I'm doing online. And now we're talking about the woman, upstairs when I got back to our floor. She's working for them. They're having her do things. They're telling her to do certain things to and around me, just to upset me, to piss me off, to get a negative reaction out of me. And she's doing it. And maybe she doesn't know what she's involved in. Maybe she doesn't know how serious this is. I'm trying to give her some credit, but I'm losing all patience for this shit. I really am. And the fact that, and this is an issue that I didn't bring up before, but I'm going to bring it up now. Some of the perpetrators are Jewish. And at first I thought, well, they're like any other group. Whoever's hunting me is going to every group and telling them lies about me and getting them involved in it and getting them to go against me. That's what I thought. But the truth is, this type of attack is so serious and so insidious and so governmental, right? If we're talking about, Mossad or the Israeli government, Mossad is more advanced than our FBI and CIA and NSA put together. If they wanted to get information on someone, it wouldn't take them long. When this attack started, all they would have needed was a few days to realize that I was never a threat to them or to the Jewish people, that I was born and raised Jewish. Yes, I converted to Christianity, but I was never a threat to them. It would not have taken them long to realize that. But these attacks have not stopped, and there are still Jewish folks involved, and I know some are probably being lied to. They believe whatever lies they're told. Just like the Nazis believed whatever lies they were told. It's the same damn thing. You have all these people who are being fed this information from people with authority who they trust, and they believe it, and they go along with acts against others that they believe are good. But you know what? At some point, their behavior literally devolves to a certain extent where they would have to be stupid as hell to keep lying to themselves to convince themselves that what they're doing is a good thing. They know they're hurting people. They know they're provoking people. And, just provoking people to get a negative response, to set those people up, that's what it is. It's setting people up. Provoking them to get a negative response, just to report them and condemn them for that response, is setting them up. They're not trying to catch an actual bad guy or a woman in a crime. They're trying to set people up to look bad when they're not. That in itself is a crime. You're doing that, damn well you're not the good guy. You're not on the good side. This shouldn't take much common sense. And this is the worst part of all of it. This is what really hurts the most. How could my own people do this to me? And I have avoided this conversation for so goddamn long. So long. But I guess we have to have this talk now. To those of you involved in this, how the hell could you do this to anyone after what was done to our people? How are you any better? You're not going after any real threat. You're going after people who were never a threat to you, and you're creating enemies who are not your natural enemies. Then you sit back and say, we're being attacked. Well, why are you being attacked? I'm not saying you don't have any enemies. I know you do. Look, my own family on my dad's side survived the Holocaust, all right? My dad wasn't even born here. He was born as they were fleeing Austria. They survived the Holocaust, and there were people on that side of the family who died at Auschwitz. And not just Auschwitz, but they died at Birkenau. That's where the medical experiments were performed. So this is not an anti-Semitic tirade. This is something that is very close to my heart. What I cannot fathom is how anyone who has this kind of history, anyone who has been, any group of people who has been put through something like that could turn around and do this to others. And, I'm not saying that all are involved in this. Some are involved, just like in every other group. There are people from all groups doing this. But this is the worst aspect. This is the worst part of it for me. Because it's my own people doing this. They're not the only ones, but they are involved in it. I've got to cut this video short. Find God, all of you. Jew, Gentile, it doesn't matter. Find God and stop serving Satan. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish. Actually, I haven't come across a lot of Muslims who involve themselves in this. But I'm sure now, because I said it, there will be. But even still, whether you're an atheist, a Buddhist, it doesn't matter. Find God, and all that means is follow the golden rule. If you wouldn't want it done to you, don't do it to others. It really is that simple. That was Jesus' entire message. That was his word, and he is the word. He's the word made flesh. Those who love his word love him. Those who hate his word hate him. It's as simple as the golden rule.